Yeah, if you got a truck or a Jeep or 4x4, you don't use that much, and sort of like one of those things you use occasionally, and maybe it's your bug out vehicle or something, which I don't really agree with bugging out. I think in emergency you should really bug in. But if you don't have something you don't use that often, sure, it's a good idea to put it on a trickle charger. Now this is just I got some other chargers that are better than this. I got a couple of the Bedini chargers, Renaissance chargers that rejuvenate the plates, and I got better Schumacher chargers. This one's only like a $20 one. I got a few of these actually. It's just a trickle charger. It only puts like 1 amp in there, and it does a float charge. Light will turn green after it's fully charged, and it does a float charge. But I always found that if you have your battery sitting in a car for, I don't know, several months, and this is why you see at the dealerships, in the used car slots and all that, or any of the classic car lots, they always disconnect the battery, because there's always a parasitic draw. Even if it's not a huge parasitic draw, there could be a clock in there, a computer, something. Even if there's no dome light on or trunk light, there's always some kind of parasitic draw. And I found one of the best things is just to have one of these things, like it's a little disconnect for your negative battery terminal. And the other thing is, that's a good theft deterrent too. If you park the car someplace and you lock the car, and before you lock the car, you pop the hood and you disconnect the battery like that. Somebody jumps in that car, say it's an old car like this that doesn't have an alarm system, or say it's a 4x4 Jeep, it's a CJ5, CJ7 Wrangler or something, or a Toyota, 4Runner or something. Now the only disadvantage you have with this is if you got a computer car, which is pretty much everything from the 80s on. It's going to cause you to have your computer reset, but within about 10 miles of driving, and maybe 30 minutes of driving and 10 miles, everything will come right back, and it's still going to run fine, even right from the beginning. Because I do that all the time on this old 99 Sebring. I disconnect the battery a lot. It always starts up and runs just fine. You just run it for maybe about 20-30 minutes under various driving conditions, and the computer relearns. So just want to put that as a tip, because I found, especially the modern cars with computers, yeah, you're going to reset your clock, you're going to reset your computer and all this crap like that, but if you're going to have that car and you're not going to use it that much, you probably want to have one of these, especially like I said, well, I've been using this pretty much every day, but I always feel better having it parked here with the battery disconnected. And it's real easy to disconnect a battery with this blade type, what should they call it, a blade type battery disconnect for the negative. So it just goes like that, and that's it. That's all you got to do to get it going again. You do that. And I always throw it on a trickle charger every time I have it sitting here. So the battery, although it's maybe 4 or 5 years old, and this is a huge battery. This is a Group 27 battery. See that? I know it's a Wally World, but it's got a lot of power in the sucker, man. It's plenty to. I had to make the battery tray a little bit bigger, and you got room for them in these old cars. But the same thing on my Suzuki over there. I got a extra large battery in there too, in that thing. So, but either you want to put it on a trickle charger, but what I always disconnect this sucker all the time. It's a great theft deterrent, and if you're going someplace, you're parking someplace, hey, nobody ain't gonna steal your car. They're gonna go in there. Say like this car, I got a couple ways to I got a way to put a cable around the steering wheel. With a padlock, which is actually a good theft deterrent, better than some of the electronic theft deterrents. But just doing that's a theft deterrent. But I found that if I let this car sit 4 or 5 months and I have that battery disconnected, the battery barely loses any charge at all. And it may, if I have a battery disconnected, I mean, yeah, I could start it, but it does lose some of its charge. It does lose quite a bit of its charge. And that's just how any car is. There's always some kind of parasitic draw going on. It could be through even your starter motor, for crying out loud. A little bit of grease on your starter motor from a positive terminal that is, making a slight connection to a ground. I mean, it's not really necessarily shorting anything out, but it's ever so slight that's creating a parasitic draw. It's almost like a very, 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 very tiny short. Even that alone could cause your battery to run down after 5-6 months if it's connected. So you want to have one of these, and they're only about, I think they're only like $20 or something, easy to install. And it's like two different things. Keeps your battery tip-top shape when you're not using your car, and it's a theft deterrent. That's what's good. That's the beauty of it, man. Big time.